Alright lads, welcome back to Kiwa Cat's House of Hands of Cards of Magic. So today what I'm going to do is look at an old friend. The reason for this is I did those videos where I talked about mana rocks being a scam. I showed a couple of decks that have minimal rocks. I showed Karavek, which is quite reliant on rocks. And then I veered right into a fucking deck review. Didn't intend to, but I did. And then it got me thinking, the decks I haven't looked at for a while, that I don't play very often because they have a certain reputation, are they still viable? Are they still good? Now, Animar, I'll start at the top of the alphabet when it comes to my decks, because I keep them in alphabetical order across 5 different deck boxes, 5 different long boxes. I've had him since 2011. Since, was it 2011 or 2013 when the first Commander precons came out? I'm pretty sure it was 2011. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Doesn't hold it against me. And if you do, what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Anyway, so Animar's one of my oldest decks. The only other deck that is probably as old as he is Karavek. Maybe Edric. Edric is a newer card, so if Animar was printed 2011, Edric came out in 2014, and Karavek, I think, is as old as Animar, so I probably built them around the same time, so close that I cannot remember who came first, if anything. Every other deck in my collection has either been built over the last 4 years or rebuilt significantly to where I've taken the old deck apart, stopped playing it for a while, and then rebuilt it after a hiatus. For example, Aurelia, the war leader. She was out of commission for a couple years because she stopped winning, and then I rebuilt her after I got a better plan for how to proceed. Anyway, as far as viability, Animar is kind of a cheat when it comes to this topic, because I really don't see him ever not being viable. He's in 3 really good colors that go well together, blue, green, red. Yeah, he's only 1/1, but he's got protection from black and white, so you can't murder him, you can't path him, you can't swords him, you can't cannibalize him. Abrupt decay, none of that shit works on him. Whenever you cast a creature spell, he gets a +1/+1 encounter. Creature spells that you cast subsequently cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 encounter in Animar. So he gets bigger, he makes your creatures cheaper, and he's got relevant protections. I think he'll always be a viable card. For Animar not to be a worthwhile commander, the game would have gone fucking off the cliff, and I wouldn't play any of the new shit. Anybody that showed up the new shit, I'd tell them to fuck right off. Is it getting the sip of my hot chocolate here? Well, mocha, hot chocolate, and coffee. Will he stand up? He's standing up! Oh, good, Animar! You're fucking standing up. Most of the decks is, I put my commander there and they fall down. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got. So right off the bat, let me tell you that Animar is 56 creatures. And I believe 36 land. Let me just do a quick Moxfield check in the background. I'm pretty sure he's 36 land. Should be 37. 37 is kind of my default number. Now, to go back to the rocks question, that is one of the reasons why 37 is kind of my default number. I've got 37 lands in Animar. Golden. So, what was the math? It's roughly every 2.2 pieces of ramp that you put in your deck, you can cut 1 land. Now, that's not hard and fast, because you need at some point some land to cast your ramp. But once you go over 37, 38 lands, you can start cutting one land, and replacing it 2 pieces of ramp. So either find land, and I'm talking about CMC 2 or less. So Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Grim Monolith, any of the talismans, any of the guild signets, those. You put 2 of those, you can take out 1 land. If you start doing that and you're putting in shit like Commander Sphere, Thran Dynamo, anything that costs 3 or more, you're taking your fucking chances. Some play groups, it's fine. So with Animar, I chose pretty much Odyssey lands for him because I wanted to have, an old school feel. I had them sitting around. So the lands I'm not really going to talk about unless it's relevant. I'm just going to be looking at him and considering, for example, if I'm playing a typical game and Cube is playing one of his decks where he says, well, it doesn't win that much. Yeah, but all of your opponents are spending an inordinate amount of resources to contain you. If all of us are spending our removal and casting board wipes because of you specifically, your deck is that good. And that's why it's not winning. Because we all have to gang up on you. So, with, let's see, against Tyranids, which is the same colors, his protections are irrelevant. Against Sonic, which is a really fast deck and comes out of the gate screaming, on turn 4 Sonic is attacking for 3 and he gets bigger quickly. Well, Animar's got protection from Sonic's middle color. So he can block Sonic all day and not have to worry about it. And then I've got things like Le Mans Cephalotropus. This is pretty much against any opposing blue deck. So 3 to blue. It's just a 2/3 Cephalotropus Legend. Wow. Those are great stats, aren't they? Now, this is back in Tournament, remember. These days for 4 mana you're probably getting a 3/5. It would have at least 2 more points of toughness, at least 1 more point of power, and it would still, when it comes to play, actually they probably wouldn't do this. They probably wouldn't do this at all. Full stop. When Le Mans comes into play, all blue creatures your opponent control get bounced back to your hands, and they can't play them anymore, as long as she's in play. Yeah, back in the day, we had cards like this. So, imagine that, Sonic. It's blue, red, white. Well, I bounce all the blue creatures back. Tyranids, same thing. So she's highly effective. And, of course, there are 4 other colors that she does nothing about. She's just a 2/3. But against blue, or decks flavored with blue, for example, if I've got her in play and somebody clones her, I'm kind of fucked. I'm kind of screwed myself. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. Venser Shaper Savant. I've read that, and I've said this before, that he's considered no longer a good creature. I don't go on EDH Ruck. I like to... Now, usually pointed out that when I said I do my decks myself, that was a lie. Because I had a deck where having some problems with it. And Baby Izzy took about a day, and he came back with a shitload of changes. It was like talking to Chat MTG. So Chat MTG, which is Baby Izzy, basically helped me rebuild the deck properly. Because he knew all the new cards that I didn't. I had no fucking clue about it. I'm going to take another sip of hot chocolate just a minute. But other than that, I like to build my decks myself by either getting inspiration from, I'll watch a random Moldhound video, a nitpicking nerd video, a Trinket Made video, and then mention a card. And I'll look, wow, that's kind of cool. I should get one of those. And so I either do or add it to the list of things that I want to get. And then when it comes in, I've got it sitting around. But on the whole, I like to build my decks myself. And that is becoming complicated because, like I said, there's a lot of the new cards I just don't know. So anyway, Venser Shaper Civil. I understand from what I've read that he's not really considered that great a card anymore, and I don't know why. I mean, 2 double blue for a 2/2 flashy human wizard. When he comes into play, bounce a spell or permanent back to its owner's hand. I mean, Remand costs 1 and a blue, but it only hits a spell of, what is the Boomerang, double blue, only hits a permanent, and it can be any permanent. It can be a land. You can bounce a fucking land back to somebody's hand if they've got a land that's bothering you. Enchantment, artifact, plane, it doesn't matter. Just bounce some shit back to their hand. Make it so you can counter it. Balefire Dragon. So, Animar, since he only has 6 non-creature, non-land cards, I need some kind of board wipe. This is the board wipe. And it doesn't wipe my board, so much the better. 5 double red for a 6/6 flying dragon. Never deals combat damage to player, deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. So if it connects with against the token player, there go the tokens. If it comes for you, die boldly or die swiftly, for die you will. I doubt this is a good card anyway. The thing is, with Animar, I've got all these cards that are probably in old sleeves. Really old sleeves. These are the originals that I put on them back when I built them, most likely. Maybe I changed them, but these are KMC sleeves, and they haven't been available in Czech Republic for a while. So, these are pretty old. And the thing is, I've got a lot of cards that in other decks would be subpar. In other decks would be too high a mana cost. This deck relies completely on Animar. I have to get him out. The whole deck is built around get him in play on turn 3 and keep his ass in play so the creatures are cheaper. That's the whole main shtick. That's the goal of the deck. Keep him in play, play creatures, beat people with creatures. It's very simple, and I love it. So, green slime. Tuna green, but I can foretell it for 2 colorless. Flashy ooze. When it hits play, counter target activated or triggered ability of an artifact or enchantment, and if you do, it's destroyed. This is the newest addition to this deck. I did this about 2 weeks ago because I have 2 of these, and in my binder, my EDH binder, I don't like having multiple copies of a card unless they're different art. So with 2 green slimes, I kind of needed to put one in a deck because I don't want to have 2 in the binder. I want it singleton as a commander reserve. EDH reserve. Let's keep going. Blind Seer. This is Urza. I don't know how many of you know the lore around Invasion, but this is Urza, the Planeswalker. Maybe some of you don't even know who the fuck Urza is. I mean, that could be. We've come to the time when we've forgotten the original memes. So, Urza, well, you should know Urza because they reference him. They had him in Dominaria. Of course, for some people, that's probably an old set by now. At the pace they're pumping them out, fucking Hasbro. So anyway, Urza and Misha are the 2 brothers that started the Brothers' War that destroyed Dominaria, led to the Ice Age, and the ultimate invasion by Phyrexia of Dominaria. Which was, so you had Antiquities, which is the genesis of the war, the first taste of it. Then it was Ice Age alliances, and then it started this whole long multi-block, multi-year arc of the Phyrexian invasion, apocalypse, and then the aftermath and onslaught after the Phyrexians were destroyed. And what happened next? So this is Ursa. This is the good guy between Ursa and Mishra. And so 2 double blue for a 3/3 legend. I don't know if he's a wizard. Let me look that up. Now that I've got the internet on. That's not fucking working. So he might be a wizard. 1 in blue, counter target spell or permanent. Target spell or permanent becomes the color of your choice until end of turn. Okay, I'm attacking you with Animar. I've got to attack you this turn, I've got to kill you this turn, or I lose with your counterattack. You've got 1 creature that can block, and it's blue. Urza can turn it black, so Animar can get through. That's why he's here. He's here also if somebody tries to hit Animar with, say, a Path to Exile, I can turn it black. Well, if they're casting a Path to Exile, I would need to turn it black, would I? Because he's got protection from black and white. That's a bad example. If somebody wants to boomerang Animar and make me bounce him back to my hand, I can turn boomerang black or white. That's a better example. I like that. I'm glad you guys told me about that. Willbender, so the other sub-theme of Animar is Eldrazi morph. He used to have a lot more Eldrazi. I've taken a lot of them out because I just wanted more fun creatures instead of big, boring, dumb beaters. And morph. Because whenever you cast a creature spell, put a plus and plus on Animar. Plus and plus a counter. You may play, which is the old word for cast. He may cast this as a 2/2 for 3. So for 3 colorless mana, I can cast this as a morph. If he's got 3 counters, I can just play it for free. So it feeds Animar. And then I can morph it for 1 blue, and when Willbender flips over, I can change target to target spell or ability with single target. This is, again, more backup for Animar. The main reason he's in here is if I don't have Blind Seer or Spellskite or something else, I've got yet another way of protecting Animar. Like I said, he is key to the deck. Yes, these are authentic. I think this is thrashed. Oh, this one isn't so bad. It's just beat to hell around the edges. And it's got a bend there. But, yeah, I've managed somehow over the years to acquire 1 of each original revised dual land, and I put them in the decks that I think really need them. Animar needs the colors, so he's got his 3 dual lands. Urabrask the Hidden, this guy's got beat too. Look at that. See that bend? There you go. Look at that. I don't know what the hell happened to him, but he got chewed up. And I think it happened after I acquired him. I think I acquired him in near mint, so I did that somehow. I fucked him up. I don't know how, but I did. So Urabrask, 3 double red for a 4/4. Your creatures have haste. Your opponent's creatures come to play tapped. Yet another creature that I don't see played anymore. This whole deck is full, chock full, of creatures that I used to see played all the time. And I don't see played anymore. Urabrask used to be really common. Willbender was not common, but I saw it in more decks than mine. Venser, same thing. Nobody else has ever played Lawan against me, which is interesting. I'm glad of it, but interesting. Forgotten Ancient. 3 in the green for a 0/3 elemental. This was the first card that was crowdsourced. So years ago, for Onslaught, Judgment, I forget exactly his premieres. No, Onslaught is right there. I've got an original foil. I'm confusing it with the other foil that I have. No. So for Onslaught, they started, just a minute. Okay, so like I was saying about Forgotten Ancient, crowdsourced. So during Onslaught, Wizards had this, must have been online, but they had basically options people could choose for a card. I forget exactly how it went. I'm sure it's somewhere on the Wayback Machine. But anyway, this is made by the community. Dinner green for a 0/3 elemental. Whenever anybody plays any spell, you may put a +1/+1 encounter on Forgotten Ancient. So don't forget you have the Ancient. Beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1/+1 encounters from Forgotten Ancient onto other creatures. Seems like a valid target. He doesn't have protection from green. Hang on, let me get the Christmas music going again. 18. What do you mean? Password's incorrect, motherfucker. I'll beat your ass, you stupid machine. What the fuck? What the hell is going on? Okay, once the goddamn computer starts up, I'll put the Christmas music back on. Okay, Mystic Snake. I tried to minimize the amount of cards that have 2 or more killer pips in the casting cost. Obviously that wasn't always easy, so Mystic Snake here is always going to cost a cancel. Always going to cost double blue, 1 green, because Animar only reduces the colorless part of the mana cost. But when it comes into play, as a 2/2, I can counter target spell. Fetch land, yeah, what's there to talk about? It's a fucking fetch land. Master Biomancer, 2 1 blue 1 green for an elf wizard. Each other creature control comes into play with a number of +1/+1 encounters on it, equal to his power, and is a mutant in addition to his other types. So the bigger I can make this guy, the bigger my dudes get. Tishana's Tidebinder. Pretty basic, 2 and a blue, 3/2 flashy Merfolk Wizard. Which comes into play, counter an activated or target activated triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is hit this way, they don't do shit for as long as she's in play. Those abilities, none of their abilities can be activated. So if there's a planeswalker and I counter one of the abilities, the other 2 or more abilities, they can't be activated either as long as she's in play. She just shuts the whole goddamn thing down. Pendelhaven. This is in here mainly. If I get it in one of my first, it's my first lands. That's ideal. So it's basically a forest with an upside. Play it for free as a land. It gives me green, or target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end turn. So Animar starts as a 1/1. Early in the game, if somebody wants to hit him with, I don't know, gut shot or some bullshit, if I've got Pendelhaven, then I can save his ass. If I don't have any other way of doing it. So that's why Pendelhaven is here. On the off chance that I'll get it in the first few turns, and it kind of doesn't matter because it's low-hanging fruit. And thinking about it, maybe I should. I've got an original Legends Pendelhaven, and then I've got Hammerheim. Maybe I should put the original Legends Pendelhaven in here because I think I have it in Edric. So I've got both original Legends. I should probably do that. I'll think about it later. In addition to Pendelhaven, I've got Hammerheim. It's a mountain with an upside. Remove all landwalking ability from target creature until end turn just by tapping it. But not that anybody does any landwalking anymore, right? I can't remember. The last card I remember Wizards printing that had landwalk is fucking Squirrel General. I can't remember his goddamn name right now. Fucking Squirrel General. 2 and a green, 3/3. Whenever you put a token in play, you get that token plus that many squirrels. Cheddarfang. So Cheddarfang is the last creature I remember that has any kind of landwalk. So I don't know if they've printed it anymore, but I mean, if somebody's going to landwalk me, at least I've got a way to stop it. The only other person that really plays anything with landwalk is the genie in his Merfolk deck, but he isn't playing right now. And if he's attacking with Merfolk, he's attacking with a lot more than one, They've all got land walk, island walk, and I've got islands because I'm playing blue, so nothing I can do about that. I'm getting hit. Steel Hellkite. Remember the Balefire Dragon? This guy's the other token killer. If Animar has 6 counters, he's free as a bird. So you just drop into play. Animar's got 6 counters. Flying, 5/5. He's got Ion Breathing, 2. He gets +1/+0 till end turn. X. When he hits somebody, he can spend X and destroy all non-land permanents with CMC X exactly, not more, not exactly, and they're all destroyed. You can only activate once per turn, because otherwise you could do, okay, I'll spend 1X and I'll destroy everything for 1, then I'll spend 3, destroy everything for, so you can only do it once per turn. That's why they did that. And somebody's playing tokens, you can just say 0 and all their tokens go away. Straightest Dancer. So Stratus Dancer, Straightest Ditzer, this chick, she doesn't cost 1 in a blue. She's not a 2/1. She costs 3 and she's a 2/2 because she's got morph, and that's the thing with Animar. Then you flip her over, you megamorph her. Now megamorph implies that you could, in theory, pay for regular morph and not get the counter, right? That's what I thought when I first saw Megamorph. That, so you pay 1 in a blue, and you morph it, you get the ability, when it's turned face up, counter an instant, you negate. So she turns face up, she negates something, and she gets a +1/+1 counter. She's a 3/2 flyer. Shouldn't you be able to just morph her for, say, 1 blue, and get the negate? And no counter? Shouldn't you be able to just regular morph her? I don't know. Seems like a missed opportunity, but that's just me. Alright, City of Brass. When it's tapped for any fucking reason, you take a point of damage. There have been stories from the long, long past of Magic of people that have died to their own City of Brass because their opponent was able to keep tapping it. And every time it got tapped, they took a damage. And if they tried to tap it themselves and couldn't spend the mana, they would take mana burn. So, there you go. Draining Welk. 4 double blue for a 1/1 flashy illusion. It's flying. When it comes to play, counter spell. Put X +1/+1 counters in Draining Welk, where X is that spell CMC. So it's kind of a play on mana drain. And that's why Mark Teeden did it, and that's why it kind of looks like a mana drain in a way. It looks like it's doing the mana drain. Like this is the thing that does the drain, right? Animar's got 4 counters, only double blue. So for the cost of a counter spell, you get a flyer that'll probably be a 3/3 4/4, and you can bounce it back and do it again. Okina, Temple of the Grandfathers. I don't know if I've ever done that ability. I don't know if I've ever spent 1 green and tapped it to give a legendary creature +1/+1 until end of turn. But I keep it in the deck anyway, because it's a force with an upside, so why not? And, as with Pendelhaven, if I get it in the first few turns, and somebody's going to gut-shot Animar, if I've got another green sitting around, I can give him +1/+1 and save his ass from the gut-shot. Opal Palace. Right, well, I want to put counters in Animar. 1. Tap. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. If you spend this mana to cast your commander, it enters the battlefield number of additional +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the number of times it's been cast from the command zone in this game. So if I just do that turn 1, he's got a +1/+1 counter and it's off to the races. If he dies, and I do it again, he's got 2. So really helps take the sting out of him dying. Solemn Simulacrum. Again, the deck is built around Animar. So if Animar's got 4 counters, this dude is free. Just drop him. Go search for a basic land, put in play tapped, and wait for him to die so you can draw a card. No, it's not going to stay. Druid of Purification, this is kind of new. 3 and a green for a 2/3 human druid. When he comes into play, starting with you, with me, not you, with me, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control. Me, I don't control. Destroy each permanent chosen this way. So it comes into play. I choose something that I don't control. Next dude chooses something that I don't control. And then third, or they don't have to. They can just say, I don't want to piss anybody off. I just want to be groovy to everybody. And be a pussy. So, or maybe there's just no valid targets. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 artifacts or enchantments that are worth destroying. And it's fair if the other guy doesn't want to do anything. And then they get destroyed. So, I like the fact that it's very, I don't know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen with the one I choose, but I don't know what my opponents are going to choose. Neat. Plax Manta. Green and blue. Yes, that colorless symbol is weird. It throws you off. It's a 2/2 beast with flash. They didn't have flash back in Ascension. They said you could play it anytime you could play an instant. When it comes into play, creatures control gain Shroud until end of turn. And when it comes into play, sacrifice it unless you spent green to play it. So yeah, if you spend red blue, blue blue, colorless blue, it'll come into play. The effect will trigger and then it'll die. If you do blue green, it'll come into play, the effect will trigger, and it will stay in play. Excuse me. Moving wall tracker. 1 green. 1 green, tap, target creature control punches another creature in the fucking face, and they punch back. But if it's black or white creature...
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and then you'll catch up to us, okay?
Yeah.
Papa.
Papa. See you in a bit.
Okay.
But then, of course, if I got blinds here, so I can... The other creature... So let's say Animar's got 10 counters on him, but the other creature has Death Touch and it's green. If I've got Urza here, I can turn that green creature black or white, and then Animar is good to go. He can fight it all day and doesn't croak. Okay, Mages of the... This is just funny. I think I outlaid in the beginning of the video that some of these cards are not ideal. They're not best in class. This deck is not tuned until it screams. I've got cards just for fun. I've got cards just because I like them. I love the art on this card. I really enjoy looking at it. And it's signed. Kind of can't really see it. Mages of the Unseen. 1 in a blue for a wizard. 1 in blue, tap. Untap target artifact and opponent controls and steal it until end of turn. That artifact gains haste. And at the end of the turn, you give it back and you tap it. So if you take somebody's artifact, and let's say it's a static artifact or it's a creature or something, even if you don't use it, when you give it back, Papa, it's tapped. She's just fun. I mean, with Animar, she costs 1 blue, 1 colorless to activate. I haven't really... There's no real gotcha plays I've ever done with her. I've just done fun things. Now, in the Blue Klux Klan, my mono blue wizards deck, oh yeah, I turn one of my opponent's creatures into an artifact with liquid metal coating. She snatches it, and then I send that motherfucker to the high market at the end of the turn. So in that deck, she does shit. Nasty shit. Catcher Triumph. Yeah, it's a Triland. Vesuvian Shapeshifter. So again, this goes to the morph theme. So play him free if Animar has 3 or more counters as a 2/2 nothing. And then you can morph him from 1 in blue, and then when he gets morphed, you can clone something. Choose another creature in play. Or you can cast him for 3 double blue, and he'll come into play, copy a creature, and at that time you can get the Enter the Battlefield ability. You can get the come into play trigger. If you just flip him over, nope, he's already in play, no trigger for you. Consecrated Sphinx. 4 double blue for a 4/6 flyer. It is kind of hard to read, but I do like. When I first saw these, I did not like them. I did not like them because they were a bit difficult to read, but after a while, they grew on me. After a while, I started to appreciate them. So, of course, whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. Get to the good stuff. Alright, here's a bad card. This is a Talus Researcher. He costs 5 mana. 4 in a blue. And he's a 1/1. On your turn, before you... So on your first main, you can tap him to draw a card. Would you pay 5 mana for a creature that you have to tap on your first main? You can't even use him as a blocker because he'll be tapped during the subsequent attack phases to draw a card? Yeah, I wouldn't either. But if he only costs 1 blue, would you do it? And that's why he's an Animar, because if Animar has 4 counters, which doesn't take that fucking long, he only costs 1 blue, sometimes maybe 2 blue and a colorless, which is still fair, which is still pretty good for that ability, I think. Just tap to draw a card. Plus, I like the way he looks. Kaya Foglio. Yeah, these sleeves, any moisture at all, any moisture, and they start sticking together. They've been around a while. Let me get that fucking Christmas music going. Come on, VLC, open up, you piece of shit. Shinka the Blood-Soaked Kink? Yes, Shinka the Blood-Soaked Kink. Get kinky. Alright, another mountain with an upside. 1 tap, target legendary creature against first strike until end of turn. Spike Feeder, 1 double green. Comes play 2 +1/+1 encounters on it. 2, pull a +1/+1 encounter from Spike Feeder, put it on something else. Pull a +1/+1 encounter from Spike Feeder, gain 2 life. Just take it off, gain 2 life. Eat a peach. Peachy beachy. He's another dude that I don't know how often I've really had him in play. Not often enough for any real memorable events. But the possibilities he presents, I really like thinking about. So, 5 in a red, which should only be, at most, 2 in a red. For 4/4 giant. Tap, sacrifice creature. He does X damage target creature player, X is the sacrifice creature. So he picks up one of your other dudes and throws him at somebody. So like with Magus the Unseen, if you steal somebody's artifact creature, the Cyclops can throw it at somebody. Sometimes that can do some damage, sometimes not. Fauna Shaman. So I could put Survival of the Fittest in here. It has been in the deck before. It's not in now because I'm trying to do everything with creatures that I possibly can. Why the fuck isn't this opening? Open the goddamn file. I want to hear some Christmas music, you piece of shit. There we go. I don't get this. This is not going to be monetized. I don't have enough viewership to really monetize anything, so if I get a copyright strike, so be it. Fuck it, I don't care. Fauna Shaman, 1 in the green, 2/2, 1 green tap, discard a creature card, go find a creature card, show it to everybody, prove you have it, then shuffle. Mountain, forest, come on, Tawa. Kozilek, there we go. Now we're getting into the hardcore hitters. 10 mana. When you cast this son of a bitch, draw 4 cards. Annihilator 4. Whenever the son of a bitch attacks, the poor bastard that you're attacking sacrifices 4 permanents before damage is dealt, before he's even blocked. And when the son of a bitch goes to the graveyard, its owner shuffles his or her entire fucking graveyard into his or her entire fucking library. You can't really see it, it's invisible ink, but entire fucking is right there, and then right there. You just can't see it. It's in tiny, tiny print. And there's been plenty of times when Animar's had 10 counters, I'm just like, bang! Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, I just cast him for nothing, haha. And then somebody hits him with the Sword Splashers. And I go, At least I gained 12 life. Ring of Colonia. 2 colorless. Equip 1. Equip motherfucker has trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, if the equipped creature is green, it gets a +1/+1 encounter. Huh, that sounds like it's good in Animar. Void Mage Husher. I can't remember ever seeing anybody else play this card in the groups that I play with. I can't really. I'm sure it's happened. It must have happened. But I just don't remember it. And usually she just sits in my hand and I just look at her. And she just says, shh, wait for it. Shh, wait. I'll be useful. Wait. Why did you cast that fucking creature and run out of mana? I said wait, you stupid idiot. I'm like, sorry. I know you said wait, but I got excited. She's like, shh, don't get excited. Fucking wait, god damn it. And that's usually what she does. She just waits in my hand. 3 and a blue for a 2/2 Flash Human Wizard. When she comes into play, counter target activated ability. So it has to be an activated ability I care enough about to expend her on. And it has to be an activated ability that they won't just activate again. And usually she just sits in my hand and I just wait. But there's been a couple times when I hit something key. So the opportunity cost for her is kind of low. If nothing else, she's a flashy creature. Whenever I play a spell, I can bounce her back to my hand. So I can recast her and put another counter on Animar. So that's why she stays in the... Even though I hardly ever use her ability, she stays in the deck because of the fact that I can bounce her back to my hand and recast her and put more counters on Animar. So she's got double utility. Mountain Valley. Should I say it? Should I? Maybe some of my newer viewers haven't really heard me say it. Wizards of the Coast are a bunch of derelict fucks. They have been sitting on these for 20 years, over 20 years. What year is this? Can't really read it. It's been a long fucking time. Anyway, these lazy fucks, over 20 years ago, came out with a cycle of fetch lands that come into play tapped and can go find any one of 2 allied color lands. This one comes into play tapped. I can sacrifice it once it's untapped and go find a forest or mountain. Put it in play, untapped, and then shuffle. They have not done the enemy ones yet, after 20 fucking years. Yes, we do have the Zendikar fetch lands, the Onslaught fetch lands, but I want them to finish the cycle. I want enemy Mirage fetch lands. Gimme. Azusa Lost Beseeking, 2 and a green. She's a 1/2 human monk. She's another card that I used to see a lot. Hit in the comments. Hit me up in the comments if you've seen anybody playing Azusa Lost but Seeking in Commander in the past year. I'm curious. I'm curious how many people see her still being played. Because I haven't seen her played for a long time. Unless I'm playing her. 2 and a green for a 1/2 legendary human monk. You can play 2 more lands on each turn. So exploration says 1. Burgeoning says you can play 1 if your opponents play 1 on their turn. She says you can play 2. She's pretty cool. Oh, wow. Actually, I should put one of her in Karavek. Plexcaster Frogling. 1 blue, 1 green. Comes into play 3 +1/+1 encounters. This mutant frog. It's not a turtle, it's a frog. So I don't know if it'll be in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. But it would seem to kind of fit somewhere. Huh. Did they... I didn't really watch the cartoon. I read the Eastman Lord comics. So I don't know if there was any frog mutants in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic. But if there was, I could see them reprinting this as that. whatever the hell that is. Anyway, 2 colorless. Target creature with the +1/+1 counter on it cannot be the target's spells or abilities this turn. More protection for Animar, really. Island. Stone Hoof Beat Bastard. 7 and a green. 8 goddamn mana. But not really, we're playing Animar. For an 8/8 indestructible trampling centaur warrior. He's a fucking elephant. Look at his body. His body is not a horse. It confused me at first. How do they justify him being an 8/8? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And then I realized, looking at it, he's a fucking elephant centaur. He's not a horse centaur. So he's really fucking big. And I just wonder what kind of, what plane he's from. Because all the other centaurs we've seen have been horse type. And then you've got this big son of a bitch. So there must be other big sons of bitches just like him, right? I mean, he didn't just fall out of the sky whole, did he? Trample indestructible. Whenever another creature you control attacks, it gains trample indestructible till end of turn also. Neat. And as with every other card in the deck, with Animar, he should be a lot cheaper. Taiga. Muldrifter. 4 and a blue. This used to be standard viable. Back in Lorwyn, 2007, standard environment 2008. This is actually played in a standard legal deck, a 5 mana 2/2 flyer. These days, I don't think you do that. I don't think it would make the cut. Anyway, 4 and a blue. When he comes into play, you draw 2 cards. You can evoke him for 2 and a blue. And use him as a cantrip, use him as, he'll die, you don't get the creature. You get a death trigger, if there's anything that you have with the death trigger. But again, with Animar, he should only be 1 or 2 blue. In the worst case with Animar, I should be paying 2 and a blue because of his mana reduction to keep him. So there's that. I think this is the one that's thrashed. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that damage. This tropical island has been played. But it still works. It still trops. That's what you need. You need your tropical islands to trop. Okay, Vizier of the Menagerie. Okay, so Vizier of the Lingerie. 3 and a green for a 3/4 neg cleric. You can look at the top card of the library whenever you feel like it. You can do it to assert dominance. If he's in play, you can just look at the top card of your library because you can, and your opponents can't. Use it to assert dominance. You can cast top card of the library if it's a creature card, and you can spend manas over a mana of any type to cast creature spells. Therefore, I don't need Coalition Chromatic Lantern in this deck because he is the Chromatic Lantern. And he should be cheaper because of Animar. Forest Verdurous Gearhulk. 3 double green for a 4/4 construct. He tramples. When he comes to play, I can distribute 4 +1/+ encounters among any number of target creatures that I control, any way I feel like. Green. Yet another creature that used to be incredibly popular that I just don't see anymore. The last time I saw anybody play one, it was Steven in his Shyrus, the Writhing Crackhead deck. And he had it in his deck because I put it there, because I built the deck for him. So blue-green for 1/1 Snake Elf Druid. When he comes to play, show everybody top card of the library. If it's a land, you can put it in play. Otherwise, it goes in your hand. I don't know why he's not good anymore. I don't know what really replaced him. Beast Color Savant. 1 and a blue. For 1/1 Hasting Elf Shaman Ally. So he comes into play, and you can tap him immediately to add 1 mana of any color to cast creatures. Well, Animar's got 56 creatures. Hey, look! I think, isn't this the second non-creature spell that we found so far? I mean, there's Ring of Colonia. I don't think I saw any other of the non-creature spells so far. The Royal Scions, 1 blue, 1 red. 5 loyalty, Planeswalker. +1, draw a card, then throw one away. +1, target creature gets +2/+0, first strike and trample until end of turn. That's pretty goddamn good with Animar. People don't like it when I start doing that shit. -8, draw 4 cards. When you do, the Royal Scions deals damage any target equal to the number of cards in your hand. So the more cards in your hand you have, the better. Save up for it. Stomping Ground. Imperial Recruiter. I overpaid for this. Oh my god, did I overpay for this? I bought it at the height of the fucking pandemic FOMO. Because I wanted the modern version, the one in the modern frame. They cut off the art. The art is like that. So there's a tiny sliver of the art. How long has this fucking camera been off? How much of this did I miss? Son of a bitch. I hope it just went off. So anyway, they cut off just a sliver of the art, but it's the artist's signature. So I didn't like that. I wanted the full version, so I overpaid for it. Misty Reinforced. And what he does is 2 and a red. He's a 1/1, comes into play. Go find a creature card with power no greater than 2. Show it to everybody. Put it in my hand and shuffle. So you can find all kinds of cool things like spell skites. Ursa's a 3/3, so he can find Lawan Cephalid Empress. And yeah, it's, even though I overpaid, I'm glad that I have one. I'm happy that I did obtain one in English because they were getting expensive. They actually went up a little bit higher after I bought him, but then they retraced. I've lost 25% of the value, but of course it's unrealized losses because I haven't gone to sell him, so I haven't really lost anything. Siobhan Reef, Beast Whisper, 2 double green. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Thank you, Mr. Beast Whisperer. You are a cool guy. And the Imperial Recruiter can find you. Spellskite. 2 colorless, 0/4. 1 blue or for extra mana, which is 2 life. Change the target of target spell or ability to Spellskite. So if somebody's going to boomerang Animar, I can have them boomerang the Spellskite instead. Fair is fair. Other than that, I mean, he's a great creature to get down early. 1, so he can protect Animar. 2, because they only cost 2, so it'll help no matter what colors I have. As long as I've got 2 mana and Animar's, I will be able to cast it to give him that counter. That's kind of key, is get them on as quickly as possible. I should get a foil one of these. I bet they're not that much anymore. Nobody plays them. Wood Elves. 2 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Scout. When it hits play, go find a forest, put it in the battlefield, and then shuffle. So it could be one of my dual land, shock lands, or that Triumph. That's why they're in there. Look, another non-creature spell. Whim of Volrath. So it costs 2 and a colorless. Just put the buyback up there. That's what it costs. 2 colorless and a blue. Change the text of target permanent by replacing all instances of 1 color word or basic land type with another until end of turn. You want your creature to fight Animar? Animar now has protection from green until the end of the turn. Please try again next time. Or don't. So that's why this is here. This is here to protect Animar. And I've got a creature in here that will severely punish me if I do that, but it's a risk I'm willing to take. Minomo, School of Water's Edge. I kind of don't know why I have this in here. Probably, well, really just to complete the cycle. I've got Shinka, I've got Okina, so I might as well have Minomo. I might as well complete the 3. Spend 1 blue, tap, untap target legendary permanent. I don't have a Cradle in here. I don't have... I mean, the best I can do is untap Animar so he can block. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot of uses, but it is cool that I've got it in here. Bloom Tender. This was another missed opportunity of mine. I had a foil one. I had a foil one from Eventide, and it got up to 100 euros. It's like, fuck. If I cash in this foil, I've still got a flat copy for Animar, and I've got another flat copy for another deck, and I could buy a bunch more cards and build more decks. So I did that, and I thought, when they reprint it, the price will fall, and I can buy it back again. They haven't reprinted it sufficiently for the price to fall in any appreciable way, shape, or form. It is still over 100 fucking euros. The price has gone up since I sold it. So I cannot really justify. I can afford it, but I can't really justify spending all the money for a foil Bloom Tender from Eventide. Which is annoying because I love foils. So anyway, Bloom Tender. 1 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Druid. For each color among permanent control, add 1 mana of that color to mana pool. So if I have an Animar out, that's 3 mana. 1 blue, 1 green, 1 red. Let's see. Peregrine Drake. 4 and a blue for a 2/3 flyer when he comes into play and tap up to 5 lands. And again, the Animar price reduction really makes him a whole fuckload better. Like I said, the deck relies around Animar. Duplicant. How would you like to, for free, drop down a 2/4 artifact creature that when it comes into play, you can exile any opposing creature that doesn't have some shroud or ward effect that you can't deal with? That sounds like a pretty powerful card, doesn't it? Yep. So that's why Animar is... And again, I don't know how many of you play against Animar decks or play them. But that's another reason why he's considered, or was considered, so powerful. You know, for free. You just drop a duplicate and exile. And if you have something that gives your creatures flash, if they unban Prophet of Krufix, Animar is getting one. Oh yeah, he's getting one back. He used to have one, and I used to do shit like that. I'd have Prophet of Krufix, Animar would have a bunch of counters, somebody would play a creature, and I'd go, bang! Flash into play duplicate, exile that motherfucker. But now, I don't have the things that give it flash, so can't really do it. Nantuko Fiticolanti. He costs 3. I will play him as a morph, because to play him face up as a 3/2 makes no fucking sense. Play him, especially if Animar's got 3 counters. Again, that's just... It's the raison d'etat pour l'Animar. Drop this guy, and then for 1 and a green, you flip him over and you naturalize something. Clausen Curio, another one of the very, very few non-creature, non-lens cards in the deck. 3 mana. Whenever a non-artifact permanent comes to play under your control, you may bounce another permanent you control that shares a type with it to your hand. So when I play a creature, I can bounce a creature. So when I play a creature, if I flipped over, say, a morph creature, I can bounce it back to my hand, and then recast with Animar, and then bounce it back, bounce another one back to my hand. Now, there's a creature, Ancient something. Ancestral statue. Ancestral something. Anyway, that motherfucker, it costs, I believe, 4. It's an artifact creature, and when it comes to play, you have to return a creature to your hand. It might be permanent. I don't play it. I do have a foil copy for Animar, but I do not play it in Prague because it represents an infinite combo I just don't want to do in Prague. Against Ostruzhna? Oh yeah, fuck you guys. So, I believe it's Ancestral Statue. It comes into play, and the trigger goes on the stack, meaning you can bounce itself. So if Animar has 4 counters, you play this for free, you bounce it back to your hand, you play for, and you just bounce it back to your hand, and each time you put it into play, Animar is getting a plus and plus encounter. So you just go and make Animar fucking huge, and then one-shot somebody, if you need to, have the Royal Scions give him the trample, make him 1,000, one-shot somebody with commander damage, and then the next guy who's looking at you funny, have Bloodshot Cyclops pick up Animar and throw him at that guy. Now that's something you could do. That's a viable course of play. That's why I don't have the Ancestral Statue. But I do have Cloudstone Curio, which does let me do the same thing, but I have to go through more hoops for it, and I have to. It's not a one-card combo. And if I don't have anything colorless to drop down, then I have to pay mana, and I will run out of mana. I will. And also, since it doesn't bounce itself, it's when this permanent comes into play, and it can't be an artifact. So I cannot use Duplicant, for example, in Cloudstone Curio. That will not work. So it has to be a creature. Now it could be a morph creature, and then I can, you know, do some bullshit, real bullshit. But otherwise, it will have to be a creature, and then I have to bounce another creature. So it's not just bang, bang, bang itself. It's, and it could run out of mana real fast. All right, let's keep going. Ancient Ziggurat taps for 1 mana of any color, can only be used to cast creature spells, and that's pretty. Lotus Cobra, 1 and a green for 2/1. This deck is just full. It's full of cards I just don't see anybody that used to be really popular and nobody plays anymore. Just full of them. Lotus Cobra. I used to see it all the time. And it's slowly, over the years, I don't see it anymore. 1 and green for 2/1 snake. When a land comes to play in control, you may add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. For free. Alchemist Refuge. So, blue and green tap. You may cast non-land cards this turn as though they had flash. Mana War. When it comes into play, return target creature to its owner's hand. For usually 1 blue. I mean, I think I really need to mention the counters in Animar anymore. I think I've made that perfectly clear. So this guy usually only costs 1 blue, 2/2 fish, bounce creature back to its owner's hand. Timeless Witness, yes, Eternal Witness is better, but functionally, with Animar, it is irrelevant, because by the time I want to get something out of my graveyard, returned to my hand, she will cost 2 green, and she'll be a 2/1 human shaman. Eternal Witness costs 2 green and 1 colorless, also a 2/1, also just with regrowth effect when she comes into play, without the Eternalize. So, for Animar, the colorless is irrelevant. If it's anything less than 3 colorless on a anything less than 3 colorless on a creature, really doesn't matter with Animar. Not after a few turns. Equilibrium. 1 double blue. Enchantment. Whenever you successfully cast a creature spell, you may pay 1 to bounce target creature to its owner's hand. So the Curio hits, I can hit my creatures. I can bounce my creatures, my non-artifact creatures. Equilibrium, I can bounce anybody's creatures, as long as they don't have Shroud or Ward or some shit like that. So it can either fuel my deck, so I bring my creatures back so I can recast them and put more counters in Animar and get more enter the battlefield triggers, or it can solve problems by bouncing my opponent's creatures back to their hand. I've done both, sometimes in the same turn. Usually with a big smile on my face. Breeding Pool. Feather Mage. 2, 1 blue, 1 green for a 1/1 human wizard. She evolves. Whenever a +1/+1 encounter is placed on her, you may draw a card. And she doesn't give a shit how she got the counter. So, if I put counters on her with Forgotten Ancient, she'll give me cards. She's cool like that. Steam Vents. Loaming Shaman. 2 and a green for a 3/2. When he comes into play, target player shuffles any number of target cards from his or her graveyard back into his or her library. So if I've got a bunch of dead creatures and I want to get them back before I get bogged, I want this guy, I want to cast him, get the trigger. If somebody's playing some graveyard recursion shit, and I see it, and I know I need to stop them, well, he does the trick there too. He's not Bojuka Bog that exiles the graveyard, but he does shuffle everything back into that person's library, so they have to start all over again with whatever mill shenanigans dredge they were doing. Yeah, it's a fetch land. Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. 11 for a 10/10. When you cast this son of a bitch, blow up a permanent. Annihilator 4. He's indestructible. And whenever he goes to the graveyard from anywhere, shuffle your graveyard back in your library. He doesn't have the motherfucker text. Entire motherfucking graveyard. He doesn't have that. Only Kozilek does. Not Ulamog, just so you know. Zilla's Conscripts. 4 in red, 3/3 Hastening Human Warrior. When she comes into play, gain control of target permanent. Land, creature, artifact, planeswalker, toasted cheese sandwich, whatever. Until end of turn, untap it, it gains haste until end of turn. There he is. This is why I don't have that many non-creature spells in the deck. Rukthar, the Unbowed. 4, 1 green, 1 red for a 6/6. Vigilant, reach a rounding, ogre warrior. Yeah, he has to attack each turn of Fable. But whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, he does 6 damage to that motherfucker. Yeah, he does it to me too. So, to make up for that, I just limit the number of non-creature spells I'm playing. A friend of mine has a Rukthar deck. And it's his first deck that, well, he didn't build it. We gave it to him as a gift to get him into Commander. And it's his go-to deck. When he tries a new deck and it doesn't work, or when he gets frustrated because something isn't going, he reaches for Rukthar, and the other lads that play a lot of spells are like, oh, god damn it. Oko, Thief of Crowns. Oko is Broko. 1 blue, 1 green, 4 loyalty, Planeswalker. +2, create a food token. +1, target artifact or creature loses all abilities and becomes a 3/3 nothing green elk forever. And then -5 does some shit that I've never done before. It doesn't even matter. So in my vintage decks, one of the vintage decks has 2 Oko. And Steven, because we like playing vintage, he got a taste of Oko on the receiving end. And he didn't like it. He's like, why the hell did they print that? It's such bullshit. And we said, yeah, I know. And after it got printed, they knew too, but they didn't ban it because they were still selling the set. And when the set stopped production and they stopped selling it, that's when he got banned. They knew it was broken, they just put it out there anyway. I really want a foil. I think I have a foil mountain. I don't think I have a foil forest from Odyssey. I want to get one, but they're like 10 euros. Kind of hard to justify. Hydroid Crisis. So, blue and a green, X. When you cast this spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards right on each time. It's got flying and trample. And Animar makes it cheaper. So if Animar, say, has 10 counters on it, on him, it, whatever, that's 5 free counters in this son of a bitch. So it's kind of perfect. In fact, I used to have 2 versions of Animar. I used to maintain 2 Animar decks. One was Hydras, because the plus encounters, the cost reduction, would give me free bigness to the Hydras. But then I decided maintaining 2 Animar decks was just kind of a waste, so took one apart. Llanowar Reborn comes to play tapped. It's a forest otherwise with craft. Comes to play tapped with a +++ encounter on it. Whenever a creature comes into play, I can move a +1/+1 encounter from Animar Reborn onto that creature. So obviously the ideal is Animar Reborn is the very first land I play in the game. Comes into play with a +1/+1 encounter on it. 2 turns later, I play Animar Soul of Elements. He gets a +1/+1 encounter, and we are in business. Sylvan Ranger, 1 in the green for a 1/1 Elf Scout. When she comes into play, I can search for a basic land card, show it to everybody, put it in my hand, and then shuffle my library. Get my hollow. I keep telling the lads I play with, they keep buying bullshit like precons and strange shit, new circuit layers, crap like, and you can get a Yavimaya Hollow for less than 50 euros. You can get a Yavimaya Hollow for less than a precon. I don't know why you guys aren't buying them. So, legendary land. Yeah, it taps for colorless, which I don't want in Animar. But the green tap regenerate target creature, I do want that in Animar. So I'm willing to live with the fact that it only produces colorless mana. And right now, it doesn't cost that much. It was, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, over 100 euros. And now it's retraced back down to about 50. So if you want one, now's a good time to get one. Lucent Forest. Farhaven Elf, 2 in a green for a 1/1 elf. Comes into play, go find a basic land card, put it in play tapped, and then shuffle. What the fuck happened to the Christmas music? Play. That's quiet. Spike Weaver, 2 double green. Comes into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. 2, pull 1 off of him. Put it on another creature. 1, pull 1 off of him. Fog. Creatures deal no combat damage this turn. Forest. Last card, Captivating Crew. 3 in a red. For 4/3 human pirate. 3 in a red. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that bastard. It gains haste until end of turn. You can only do this if you can cast a sorcery. But you can steal their creatures. And attack them with them. Or throw them at them with Bloodshot Cyclops. And that's Animar. That's Animar. Like I said at the beginning, I really don't see him not being relevant at any time. So let's get this posted.